Kabira, and this is my YouTube channel. Okay, so a few months ago, about 5 months ago actually, I shared on YouTube and my other social medias that I suspected that I might have undiagnosed ADHD. So you can watch the video if you'd like. I go into it in more depth, but just a quick recap. The reason why I think that is because pretty much for my entire life I have struggled with time management, organization, forgetfulness. I've just always kind of described myself as scatterbrained. My mother would describe me as irresponsible and immature. But anyway, so I've been that way like pretty much always. I didn't really have issues in school, like academically. I was able to go through all the way through high school, college, and then to get my master's degree. And then after that, I hit a huge wall, and I feel like I've kind of just been like driving my life into the ground ever since. Just making like really bad decisions. I quit a high-paying job. I was demoted from a high-paying job, and I know I am a smart, hardworking person, and I should be able to maintain my career and not be struggling like this. The way that I am, like currently, I don't just have trouble functioning in my job, but I have trouble functioning in like pretty much every single area. And it's really not great. I'm 27 years old. I do have an apartment of my own now, and I just want to keep my shit together basically so that I can be happy. But anyway, that was just a long-winded way of saying I've struggled for a long time, and it's just been kind of getting worse. So I stumbled upon, well, first I thought I had bipolar. First I thought I was bipolar. So I went to let me back up. First of all, I've struggled with depression and anxiety for years and years and years and years, my whole life. I realized in the fall of this past year that I was emotionally abused as a child by my parents. I realized in 2020 that being raped in college actually had like significantly impaired my life, go figure. And then after that, I entered into like arguably a toxic relationship. So those things were all traumatic for me, okay? And you know, maybe I would have had depression and anxiety whether those things had happened or not. I'm not sure, but they did happen, and I do have depression and anxiety, and I've been trying to treat that for a long time. But there's something else. Like there was something more, because the things that I was doing should have not fixed it, because it's like there's no cure, but I could only get so far treating my depression and my anxiety. I am on Lexapro. I try to do things like meditate and take walks and talk to my friends and eat and cook for myself. Like journal. I know the things to do to help myself, and I just am not able to consistently do them. And I've had a serious lack of motivation lately. In many areas. It's very frustrating because I feel like there's a Kabira inside of me that is like better than this. And it's not all about like achievement, you know, but just my everyday functioning. Anyway, so that's why I thought this is so scattered. I'm sorry. I thought I was bipolar because of my my inability to maintain consistently healthy habits. There's bipolar 1, which is mania and depression, and there's bipolar 2, which is depression and hypomania. Then there's cyclothymia, which is a general mood disorder that's like bipolar light. It's not as severe as like bipolar 1 or bipolar 2. So I suspected like maybe I might have one of those. So I went to my psychiatrist, who had already been prescribing me Lexapro. This was a new psychiatrist, okay, because I had moved from Pennsylvania to Delaware. And I think the first time I met her, I said, I think I might be bipolar. She totally blew me off. She was like, we don't need to get you on. We don't need to say, holy shit, let's get this girl on mood stabilizers. That's what she said. I was like, okay, you're the doctor, not me. So she got me my script for Lexapro. Didn't see her for several months. The next time I go back, I say, I think I might have ADHD. This is probably around the time when I made that first YouTube video. She blew me off again. She said, everyone has ADD. First of all, it's called ADHD now, not ADD. Second of all, that's not true. She was like, if you're not interested in it, if you're not interested in what you're doing, then everyone has ADD. And I'm sure there's lots of other reasons why you have trouble focusing. I strongly regret every time I mention that I like drink or smoke or anything to doctors, because I feel like that's all they hear, when in actuality it's like, I drink because I'm struggling with something else. The alcohol is not, I mean, it's a problem. It's not helping anything, but I'm doing that because I don't feel well, because I'm like avoiding a bunch of other shit. So anyway, my doctor blew me off a second time. She continued to write the script for Lexapro, which I do feel like that works well for me, but was not hearing me when I was trying to mention ADHD. She kept saying like, people just come in here and all they want is medicine. Well, you are a psychiatrist, so like, but she was just encouraging me to get into therapy. So I did. I have a therapist. Not crazy about the therapy. It's not really working for me. And I'm just afraid of hurting my therapist's feelings. So that's why I keep on paying her and doing these sessions, but it is not helpful. Like, talk therapy is so hard. I feel like I get more out of just talking to my friends than talking to this therapist. Like, and hopefully she doesn't watch this. Sorry, Ellen, if you're watching. But first of all, our sessions are only on the phone, like not a video call, which, being in the mental health field and a mobile therapist myself, I'm not allowed to just do phone call sessions. I have to have it. That doesn't count as like a billable service. So she's kind of, I don't remember ever signing any I did find her like on my insurance page's website as like recommended doctors that fall under my insurance. But I don't know, it's kind of sus. But I mentioned to her that I thought I had ADHD. She said the same damn thing. Blew me off. Wasn't hearing it. And that was like really discouraging, because like, you know, I know you can't diagnose yourself. However, getting a diagnosis is such a privilege. Like, it involves time and money and doctors and health insurance. And a lot of people don't have those things. But what we do have is the internet and self-awareness and all the things that I was reading about or pointing me to ADHD. So even though I had two professionals tell me that just don't think about that, it doesn't matter, I still thought that there was a good chance that maybe I had it. The next time I went to see my psychiatrist, again, months later, I had to bring it up again. I had to bring it up again because I can't live like this, right? I cannot continue to be so scattered and unorganized and unmotivated. Like, I have a life to maintain. I'm out here doing it by myself. I don't have people that I can, well, I have friends and like some family that will help me in times of need, but like really for the most part, I am doing things on my own, and I have to be able to take care of myself. And I deserve to be able to do that. So even though I'm like really not a like pushy person, this means so much to me, I had to bring it up again. The next time I brought it up to my doctor, my psychiatrist, she said, well, I could put you on Wellbutrin, which has focusing properties, but an evaluation is so time consuming, there's not really a point in you doing it. That's what she said. And she did not change my meds at that time. She just kept me on the Lexapro. So I'm over half a year in at this point. Nothing has changed. Neither of these people are really even willing to talk to me about it. Then my therapist suggested that I had a mood disorder, which in a way was kind of validating to me, because like, you know, I'm saying these things, I'm armchair diagnosing myself, I'm talking to my family about it and things like that, and I feel like they think I'm nuts. Like, Kabira, you are just reading about something and then automatically assuming you have it. When in actuality, I don't think that's what I'm doing. I think I'm like actually like honing in on something, and I think I'm goddamn right about it, and I think it's gonna change my life once I figure it out. So even though it might seem like nutty, I feel like I'm on the right path. So anyway, after she suggested I had a mood disorder, that was validating to me because I had never told her I suspected about bipolar. I never mentioned that. She was just able to pick up on that from like our conversations. So I was like, okay, well, if she says that there's something, like there's something, whether it's bipolar or ADHD or what, at least I finally have someone who is in the professional realm say, yeah, I think you might have something more than just depression. So that felt good. After she said that, she gave me like a recommendation to a doctor who deals with bipolar disorder and like diagnosing. Gave him a call, wasn't accepting any new clients. Then I got back onto like my insurance page website and sorry. I got back on my insurance page website and I found a doctor who works with ADHD. I was so delighted when I saw her website because it was like geared towards career people. If you're it really said if you're struggling with school or your work and you feel like it might be a neuropsych issue, this is the place for you. That's the gist of what it said. And I was like, that's exactly what is going on here. So luckily, I guess it's like really hard to get in with the ADHD doctors. There's like long waiting lists. Months ago, I did try to get in with someone and they never got back to me. And then because I'm a loony bird, I never reached back out. But luckily I was able to get in with her and we got the ball rolling. So this is what that process was like. Not that I had a 12-minute exposition. I'm sorry. I'm just like really scattered today. But I wanted to make this YouTube video today because I get my evaluation back tomorrow. So I wanted to tell you my thoughts and feelings on the eval before I have the diagnosis, just so it can be as sincere and genuine as possible, I guess. So anyway, we have like a brief phone conversation, she and I, and we find out that my insurance is good to go. Then we schedule our initial like consultation, I guess. She did it through telehealth, so just a video chat, and she did it through a video chat, and she basically was just like, so what's going on? What can I do for you? So I explained to her like, yeah, I've had a lot of trauma and I struggle with depression and anxiety, and but there's something like else going on, and I have these doctors working with me that aren't really working with me, and I need help. And I told her all of the symptoms I have, and she asked if I wanted to do another consultation or if I wanted to jump into the eval. I said, let's do the evaluation. So we scheduled that for like a couple weeks later. It was from 9 to noon. I was 30 minutes late, not on purpose. I really tried to be on time. Luckily she was really nice to me about it. Sometimes when I'm like late for appointments, which happens all the goddamn time, when I'm late for appointments, it gives me a lot of anxiety, like the doctor's gonna be mad at me. And so it was nice that she like wasn't mad about it, and probably might be used to having like late clients show up. But anyway, so it was just me and her in the office, and she had an iPad, and then she gave me an iPad, and we just jumped right into like a bunch of these tests. I looked it up afterward because at the time I was like, why are we doing this? And I was really curious about why we were doing each section. So I looked it up afterwards, and I think this portion was like an IQ test. Now, not all neuropsych or people who are doctors for ADHD specialists, not all of them are gonna do the evaluation the same exact way, but I just wanna tell you what mine was like. So she has her iPad, I have my iPad, and she gives me a bunch of like puzzles, basically. So for example, some of them were patterns, like blue circle, red square, blue circle, what's next? And then they got harder and harder, and then there was one that was like, that had a bunch of pictures of scales, and like there were 3 triangles on this scale and 4 squares on this scale. I'll put up a picture so you can understand what I'm saying. But if there's three triangles on this scale, how many squares would you need over here? Like stuff like that. It started to really make my brain hurt, honestly. I was like, if I had more, if you give me a pencil and paper and a lot of time, I could figure this out. But it got to a point where I was just like kind of guessing to get those answers out, because I was like, I don't know, this doesn't make any goddamn sense, okay? And that reminded me so much of like my math classes back in the day, like just kind of guessing to get a test over with or my homework over with, and using like just saying which this answer feels right, because it was timed. It was a timed assessment, and she wasn't giving me any feedback like if I was getting the answers right or wrong. But I thought I was getting a lot of them wrong because I was literally just guessing. So that was one of them. The patterns, the balance scales. She gave me a bunch of math problems, which I did not like that. I've always been like really bad at math, embarrassingly bad at math, because I consider myself to be pretty intelligent. But when it comes to like numbers and things like that, I've always struggled in that area. So that part I really just wanted to get over with. So what that section looked like, she would give me like word problems, say, Matthew has to be on the bus at 12 o'clock. He has to pick this up over here, which is gonna take this amount of time, and do this. What time will he arrive? I don't know. It was all very jumbly up in my head, and she would only repeat it one time. It was not written down. It was just like out loud math word problems. I have a hard time with math word problems if they are written down. So just doing it in my head was not easy for me, and I did not like that part. I was like trying to do some of that on my fingers, like count up, and then when we got to multiplication, I was like trying to write and visualize the numbers on the table. I kind of like low-key forget how to multiply, honestly. I'm just so used to using calculators. But there was a bunch of number questions that she was asking me. Another example of like a number question she asked me, she would give me a sequence of numbers, and then have me repeat them back, and she would keep adding on to the number, so it was like up to 7, 8 digits or whatever. Then she would have me say them backwards, and she would give me a sequence of numbers and say, repeat them back to me, but put them in order from lowest to highest. And she would just keep adding the numbers, and it was just like, because the more we were talking, the more numbers she was putting into my brain, the more jumbled up they were getting, and I knew I wasn't saying them right. And I think some people, like, I don't know why anyone would fake having ADHD, like, I guess to get the Adderall, but when I was in there, like, I was trying my hardest to answer these things correctly. I'm not really a competitive person, but it evoked my competitive spirit. Like, I want this person to think I'm a smart person, so I'm gonna try my hardest to answer her questions right. Like, I definitely wasn't faking on my responses. I was trying to answer as correctly as I could. What are some of the other, I think that was pretty much like the number questions. So we have the puzzles, we have the math section. Then we got to the stuff that I did like, which was like linguistic stuff. She gave me a bunch of vocabulary words, and asked me to like define them. Had a blast with that. I was like, give me more, girl. She gave me 2 words and said, how are these alike? Like, one of the words was like ocean and music. How are they alike? I said, I don't know, wave or something like that. So that was kind of fun too. That was a fun little brain puzzle. There was one where I had to fill in, there was like a sentence and then there was a word missing, and you had to come up with a word to fill in the sentence. That was interesting. She gave me a list of words that I had to repeat back, and she did that over and over and over again, like maybe 10 words, maybe 10 or 12 words. She would just read it like ball, hat, clarinet, tuna, I'm just making them up, refrigerator, doorknob. And then I had to say those words back, as many as I could remember. And each time I think I remembered another one, maybe I remembered another one. Then she gave me, we did that like 12 times. Then she gave me another list of words. So now I have 2 lists of words. That's not 2, that's 4. Now I have 2 lists of words in my mind. And she'll say, was this on the, she would say a word like clarinet and then say, was this word on the first list or not? So I had to like kind of keep them track in my brain. I don't know how I did. I'm very curious to see, because again, just like with the other puzzle, she wasn't giving me any feedback, like whether I was getting them right or getting them wrong. But she was kind of, I think she was testing my memory on that, on those words, because people with ADHD struggle with working memory or like short-term memory, I guess. What else was there? Was that word section? I think that might be it for like the IQ portion. Then there was a self-evaluation, which she gave me like, she sat me down at a computer and there was maybe 3 different assessments that I just had to answer. As self-reporting, I had to just answer the questions honestly. And that was kind of validating to me because it was just written out. Like, it would ask me questions about symptoms and I was able to say, yes, I have that symptom. Yes, I cannot pay my bills on time and remember to like get things done like that. The one that I'm thinking of, it would ask you how severe the problem was. Like, for example, paying bills on time. Is this a no, I have no problems with this, a little bit of problems, a lot of problems, or severe? And there were so many of them where I was like very honestly answering, I have severe struggling with this, and this, and this, and this. And I would genuinely be surprised if I get my diagnosis back and she says you don't have ADHD, because it just makes the most sense. It really, really does. So yeah, I did all the self-reporting and that was the end. So like I said, that took the whole thing took 30 minutes and it was interesting. She was very nice and I can't wait to get my assessment results back, which I'm gonna do that tomorrow. So my job that I was demoted from, like I said, they had been really nice about it when we had that conversation. And they said that, you know, if I do have ADHD, they would give me accommodations to help me like with my deadlines and things like that, if I do decide to stay with that company. But also, guys, I just got a job offer, which for a BC, behavioral consulting, which is the same thing I've been doing. However, this position is with adults with intellectual disabilities, which is like my niche, I would say. And I think I would enjoy it more because I've just kind of like been getting a little burned out from working with children. Although I do love kids, it's hard to work with like the family unit as a whole. But if I was just working with an adult, I think I would really enjoy that. And that job pays $40 an hour. The other BC job I had and have, well, mobile therapy is $30 an hour. And I don't have very many clients with them. So it's like, I'm kind of like climbing up the ranks and I'm not doing I don't know how I'm doing it. But once I get there, it's like, I can't fake it. I can't fake it that much and I'm gonna end up like crashing and failing unless I get the tools I need to help me. So I don't know. I think I will. The doctor said that if this diagnosis is gonna rule out a mood disorder, if I have it, she's gonna be able to tell if it's that or something else. She also tested me for PTSD, by the way, which good, because I've been in therapy and I've seen doctors and all this stuff and no one has ever said like, I think you have PTSD. I think I have CPTSD, but I haven't ever had a professional tell me that until I met her. So anyway, that's basically it. That was the evaluation process. Put in a couple hours in so far. I don't know if there's gonna be more or if tomorrow was like the end. This is your diagnosis, now take it and do with it what you will. I'm not sure, but I'll let you guys know. If you have had an ADHD evaluation, maybe you could explain it in the comments, because there's a lot of people who, you know, are going through this process, and I know that not all evaluations are the same. So it'd be nice for people to be able to see, like, you know, what mine was and maybe what your experience was because when I was looking before the test, when I was trying to find answers on what to expect, I was getting a lot of different, it was hard to find information on it. So if you've gone through this experience and you want to share, you can post it in the comments. If you want to talk to me about it privately, you can talk to me about it privately. And I think that's really it. Yeah. Well, thank you for your time. And I'll see you another day. Well, actually, I'll see you soon because I'm going to let you know about this eval assessment, which I'm getting back tomorrow. All right. Bye.